My partner 33M proposed to me 28F as a joke in front of his friends? My partner 33M and I 28F have been together for almost 5 years.
We live together and I thought we were on the same page about our future. We were hosting a small get-together last night with some of his friends at our apartment. The night was going great. Towards the end of it, everyone started talking about relationships and marriage.
His friends have been pushing him to propose for a while.
So it wasn't a surprise when the topic came up. Out of nowhere,
my partner gets down on one knee and pulls out this ring. He started this whole speech about how much he loves me and how he wants to spend the rest of his life with me.
I was in shock and started crying tears of joy. This is something I've been dreaming about for a while now. Just as I'm about to say yes, he bursts out laughing and says, "Relax, babe. It's just a joke." His friends were laughing and I was just standing there completely shattered. He handed me this plastic ring. The kind you get out of a vending machine. I tried to play it off and laugh too, but inside I was dying. I felt so humiliated and hurt. After everyone left, I confronted him about it. He said I was being too sensitive and that it was just a bit of fun.
But it wasn't. I've always been serious about our future and this felt like he was mocking my feelings in our relationship.
He knows how much I care about this and he made it into a joke. The thing is, he didn't seem to understand why I was upset. He kept saying it was just a joke and I should lighten up. I love him, but this has really shaken me.
How do I even start to explain to him how deeply this hurt me? Has anyone else been through something like this? Breaking up over a joke after 5 years together feels wrong to me, but I feel so hurt now.
Edit. I know what a prank is. He called it a joke and I'm describing everything just as it happened.
How do I even start to explain to him how deeply this hurt me?
You did. He didn't care. I wouldn't want to be the punchline in someone's life.
What is funny about this?
He absolutely knew what he was doing. You love him, but he doesn't love you.
Love requires respect and he has none for you if he could do such a cruel thing. A fake proposal is not a joke, it's an intentional humiliation.
He was laughing at you with his friends.
You won't get him to feel remorse for how hurtful this was because hurting and embarrassing you is the point.
I would take this as your sign to move on.
This man will never marry you, and thank God for that, because a life with such a cruel person sounds miserable. Your partner is an asshole who doesn't care about your feelings. If he did, he'd feel remorse for the joke like a normal human.
You're allowed to not like his joke.
Breaking up over a joke after 5 years together feels wrong to me.
I don't think you'd be breaking up over a joke.
You'd be breaking up over a cruel, humiliating partner that has absolutely no empathy and does not see a future with you. A joke to me would be getting down on one knee, and then tying his shoelace or picking something up. To have a ring, and then spout about his feelings to you feels like premeditated humiliation, especially doing it in front of his friends. I totally agree, it seems like a lot to end a 5-year relationship over, but it really shows his dedication to the relationship isn't as much as you'd hoped. My 26 female partner, 27 male, referred to our house as his house. How should I react? Earlier today, after a week of being in bed ill, my partner is finally recovering. Unfortunately, I myself have also fallen ill today. I feel crap. I woke up last night with uveitis. I woke up and asked him to look at my throat because I couldn't breathe properly. He said, and I quote, "I won't be able to see anything, you can't see yourself in a mirror." I didn't get upset, I just went to look, confirmed, and then didn't get a wink of sleep. And it doesn't help that I've been managing all the childcare myself all week, from dawn till dusk. Hats off to single moms, you are saints. Also, we've just got a dog that I'm allergic to, so when the antihistamines wear off I'm completely stuffy again. I went upstairs and begged him to get out of bed as I felt so rough. He declined. In fact, he didn't decline at first, he told me, 1 more hour. And then again, and then again. At this point, I've had about 2 hours sleep. I'm ill and running on fumes, so I gave up, and I will admit I did close the door hard. It is important to note that he never takes the kids in the morning when he is well. Ever. I think maybe 4 times? And our oldest is 4 years old. Unfortunately, I'm not exaggerating. Occasionally I'll get a nap later, but it's rare. I digress. After I shut the door, he said, Don't slam my door. Go find one of your own to slam. We live here with our kids and he bought the house with insurance claim money from an injury, so technically it is very much his house. We are not married yet but engaged.
I came back in and asked for clarification and he did in fact confirm that it's his house and I need to respect it. He then called me a crazy BTCH. I am at a loss. I've left him up there and just sat on what I thought was our sofa. Part of me wants to go on strike, stop cleaning his house, stop washing his clothes, stop making his dinner. But I don't know if this is a big enough deal for me to respond like this. Just any advice would be appreciated. Appreciate you guys. Edit. I've just delivered groceries because I can't go get them and he's texted me from upstairs telling me to dial back on the spending. Also, to everyone referring to me as a bang maid, I'll be the first to say I'm not the most attractive person. He's not with me for that. I'm just a fat mum LMAO. I would say maybe a nanny or a regular maid is more likely. What's the point of having a husband if he doesn't even like you?
Since you are basically doing everything without his help, you are better off single. Take steps now to make yourself independent and then leave him to rot in his house alone. So you're the live-in maid? If one of your children were in a relationship with someone who treated them the way you're being treated, what would you want them to do?
Learn to get up from the table when love is no longer being served. I'd leave him because he doesn't sound like a loving or supportive partner. Vacations are not fun because of my 37F husband's 40M spending on food.
How do we fix this?
We are coming up on a vacation to the Outer Banks with our 2 kids, teens, girl and boy. We rented a beautiful home right on the beach. Part of renting a home is to cook ourselves.
This is to A. Save some money and B. Not eat junk all week. My husband Tom has some food trauma from childhood, neglect, food scarcity, and it manifests itself really badly on vacation. He constantly wants to go out to eat, even though we have a beautiful full kitchen in our rental. He will drop $300 on lunch for 4 without batting an eyelash. He's constantly urging the kids to get whatever they want, so my daughter ends up ordering $125 steak and lobster even though I know she won't be able to finish it by a long shot. Even when we go grocery shopping, he will insist on only going to those boutique local grocers that don't carry any conventional brands. And he constantly overbuys like double of whatever we need, just in case. He will buy, like, 5 bottles of fresh squeezed orange juice but only drink 2 of them and then not bat an eyelash when we have to toss them at the end of the trip. This happens all the time. I can't convey how utterly stressful this is for me. We are not rich people. We do well enough for ourselves, but I buy generic at home and literally use coupons and look for sales. I do all the grocery shopping, all the meal planning, and I do all the finances. Money has sort of been an issue through our whole real-timeship, but we've learned to deal with it for the most part, which means I take care of it since Tom will blow through money like nobody's business. I've done a good job of reining in spending, saving for retirement, saving for college, and paying all our bills on time. We have no debt except for our mortgage. It's so stressful that, for 360 days a year, I shoulder the burden for everything money-related for our family. But then 5 days a year it all goes out the window and we end up spending thousands, literally, of dollars on wasteful spending on food. If I don't agree to spend this money, I'm totally seen as the bad guy. Tom makes it out like we are missing out on core vacation memories or something if we don't eat such and such or go out for seafood every night. He's also accused me of being super controlling of how we spend and eat. I'm all for splurging on a nice dinner out. But not every dinner, lunch, breakfast. And I'm totally okay with getting, like, a nice loaf of local artisan bread for toast in the morning, or like let the kids each pick out a snack for when we are in the boat. I'm not an ogre. I like a treat too. I just want it in moderation. That's just life. That's a life lesson and I feel like the kids are getting such a bad message from Tom. The spending is insane to me and so stressful. Plus, the kids and I start to feel sick after eating out multiple times in a row, just gross and bloated. We are normally really healthy eaters, so this is a shock to my system. I want moderation not only for the financial aspect of traveling, but also because it is setting the kids up for a huge sense of entitlement and an unhealthy attitude to food. Already, they will rib me when I try to limit what they throw in the cart at the grocery stores on vacation.
And tease me about saving leftovers.
And yes, I think they should learn that ordering the most expensive thing on the menu is probably not a good idea in general, and that they should actually look at the prices when they go grocery shopping. This is just common sense.
Life lesson. Self-control. Moderation. I feel strongly that I'm setting them up for failure or entitlement if they don't learn these lessons.
Am I crazy here? Tom uses food as a celebration, as a way to relax, as a way to cope, as a way to reward, as a way to deal with stress and sadness. Pretty much any unique life event he will throw food at it. It is just not healthy financially or physically, and I totally feel like the kids are learning from this, and I don't want them, my daughter especially, to have this unhealthy attitude to food and spending on food.
He is 100% aware of his food trauma,
but doesn't really do anything about it.
It is spotlit during vacations and becomes super stressful. It is maddening, and I am dreading leaving on Monday because of the arguments we will have about eating out.
What can I do about this?
I'm genuinely considering therapy for us. I know for sure he needs it, but I'm thinking of going together to work through it.
He is 100% aware of his food trauma, but doesn't really do anything about it. Have you told him that you want a vacation and that he stresses you out? You should tell him that you want a relaxing vacation and his behavior is negatively affecting you. He should also go to therapy because you cannot be watching how much is spent, doing all meal planning and shopping just because he is not reliable.
He is also creating bad behavior in your kids.
Your daughter should not be ordering a 125 dish if most of it is going to end up in the trash. That's not a money issue.
Also, connecting over eating or wastefulness with happiness is not good either. OBX is great, but your husband's issues that have not been resolved make it miserable.
Why continue going when it makes you so miserable?
Cancel. Book an all-inclusive in Mexico, where your husband can have a full buffet at his disposal. For every meal. I kind of can't get past a teenager ordering $125 steak and lobster at lunch. Damn, 90% of the reason I go on vacation is so I don't have to cook. This entire situation is a mess.
Honestly, I would refuse another family vacation, we know who plans them, until he sees a therapist. Maybe a couples therapist to start with, so you can get some professional backup that he needs to sort through his shit before he beggars y'all at a seafood smorgasbord.
He definitely needs counseling. Maybe for this trip, use a grocery store app and have food delivered to the house?
That way there's less of a reason to go out and buy more food, and you can say it's to make more memories together at the beach rather than shopping?
Point out, of all the vacation meals you had last trip, do you remember every single meal? What family memories are tied to those meals? Doing anything in excess will become overblown and rote. He definitely needs to learn to compromise. Maybe next year set up your vacation budget to include going out one meal a day or only use cash to pay for meals, so there's a limit.
Please help. Should I let my BD see the baby?
F24M24. Should I let him see his son? I am 36 weeks pregnant. Did the pregnancy alone. He decided to go on social media to stream. He flirted with girls and followed girls. All that hurt me a lot during pregnancy. I told him how I felt. He didn't care. He called it business. He would only send a few dollars a month but lived his life and wouldn't message me about the baby. Now that is getting closer to the due date. He wants to see him.
What should I do? I already know I picked the wrong guy. I already know I made a mistake.
File for child support, do the whole DNA thing, and then let him file for visitation rights. Keep it all legal. All of it. Say nothing to him, just get all the necessary info you'll need, including his SS number, address, employment, everything, then file for all of it the minute you walk out of the hospital.
Say nothing to him about it. Don't tell him you've gone into labor. Don't tell him anything until after the baby is born and you've returned home. You don't need him there, there's no bonding crap. Don't get all emotional over this guy. Yes, you picked the wrong guy, but with proper planning and foresight, being a single parent can be a heckin' lot easier than being saddled with a guy who will most likely be utterly useless. My oldest BD did the same. I had her without telling him. Very small town and he didn't know for weeks, but too late for him. Told the hospital I didn't know who the father was and they kept the father's name withheld on the birth certificate. She carried my last name. My advice: if he hasn't came around before now, you and baby are better off without him. Keep it legal. Tell him to contact your lawyer if he wants to see his child. You can sort the custody and child support arrangements all in one go. This guy has shown he can't be trusted, so you need to keep everything formal and in writing.
I would talk to a lawyer before coming to any custody agreements.
If you're not married and don't live together, then I live in Canada. So if your area is like mine legally, you have full custody of the baby once it's born. If he's dangerous, you could leave him off the birth certificate, so he'd have to establish paternity before getting any rights to the baby. But then you also wouldn't get child support until paternity is proven.
My God, this world needs a whole lot more vasectomies.
He only wants to be there to take pictures with a baby and tell everyone on social media how he's such a good father.
Then he will ghost you both and pretend you're keeping him away from his child.
Do what makes you comfortable and happy.